Hi. I'm taking it easy right now and just sitting and going through some things. Today was a great day. I walked for at least 25 kilometers around the city to various places. Um, the little girl is tired, she's already asleep, and so on. So I'm just having a rest and thinking about stuff because while we were having a good day, um, the headlines in the news has been really bad the last days, and I don't follow them anymore. I haven't done that for this week or the week before. It's not like I do that every day. It's more from various times I do that, and in a sense, when you see the pattern, it doesn't really matter what happens because it's always along a certain pattern or causal chains of events. The Barcelona case, which is just like the thing that happened in Stockholm and in Berlin and so on. And I was thinking how we are perpetual victims now because every casual thing can be used against us. Cars, knives. Yeah, you can't control those things. That's a fact, but you can't control the people who do that. You see, once again, I'm talking about this because I always think it's absurd when, like in Sweden and even in Barcelona, they got a warning by CIA that something might happen. You can always read the perpetrators were known to the police, or Barcelona was a recruiting place for jihadists. And if you take gang crime in Sweden, which has been really, it's going on a weekly basis. Now the hospitals, emergency places are put in danger because the police is not there. The police does not exist anymore. And the thing is, I also read there the criminals were already known by the police. So why do they tell that? Just by saying that, it means that they have lost. We have lost. Our security is lost. If you know there's a terror cell, if you know there are criminals, they ought not to be walking freely. That's just, that's what the police is for, what the rules are for. It's crazy. So, and take aside the tragedy of those events, 9/11 eventually led to every device being recorded. We need to listen to everyone so we can catch the terrorists. And now when they are listening to everyone, they are still somehow, committing these crimes and organizing themselves. Even if they take a car and drive it on innocent people, there's still a planning going on. I doubt that every incident is spontaneous, like that person should do that whenever he feels is right and just, maybe, but it's a more organized. And if they are already known, if, it's always like there has been a warning. I remember now, if I am not going to say correctly, but the thing that happened in Paris, in Bataclan, they got a warning, and in Barcelona they got a warning. In Sweden, it's always they. It's not like it happens from nothing. So they know about these groups. They might have been warnings and so on, and it amazes me, like, how can they let that go on? They are certainly not doing their job. Maybe because the quality is really bad, and I don't really buy into this that they are sort of like keeping them on the loose just to sort of gather more information and to get the big boss or something. I don't buy into that 20s mafia movie concept. This is different. So so I just want to talk about two things I mentioned, which are like general ideas and something that I can see happen. For example, the surveillance issue is battery warning on the phone. the surveillance we already have. Now maybe we're going to have a faster development of cars being more registered, or some kind of surveillance system for cars and movement, because it might not happen, next year or within 2 years, and it might start off in maybe high-tech countries like Finland or other places which have a smaller population and more resources to do that. So it is sort of inevitable, people get scared and you need protection. And for example, if you want to pay 50 euros to run a race, a half marathon, these days you might think that, who knows what might happen, somebody might throw in a grenade or something. So I think, in a sense, the terrorists have won here, because people are under not perpetual fear, but there is a sort of awareness that it can happen at any time, anywhere. And once again, I'm also kind of disgusted by the politicians who say that, we can't protect ourselves from this. This is going to be part of our daily threats. Yes, we can, because every time I read about attacks, I read that, warnings, unknown terror cell, and so on. So why don't they just do their job and create forced labor camps or something? Make use of that. Don't let them just on the loose. And in Sweden, it's really crazy because there is no police. People are going to realize that you have to be alert, actually. And this is not something that I go daily and think about, but from time to time, when I sit on the computer and just look at what's going on, it's the same patterns. And personally, I think it's a good idea to get in a good shape and be sort of flexible, be sort of alert. Not focus on one thing, not just go and get muscles or just run distances, but like become flexible, become like some sort of a wolf mentality. You see, we have senses which we don't use when we sit here like this at home. We don't use them. Our smells, our intuition, our hearing, our seeing, our gut feeling. I can tell you, I've been straying away from a lot of dangerous things just by sort of having a gut feeling, seeing something, and have that sort of animal instinct. And sometimes I have not listened to it, and but learn that it's a good thing, because we are not. We're not dependent on the smartphone and the news. You have to sort of be aware when you go into a crowded place in the city. That sort of relaxation mode is gone now, in a sense. It's not like people are going to, or even I'm going to be in that mode up front and always in it, but it's going to be in the back of the head, because we don't have an urban landscape now which is, how we say, friendly for trips. You can just wander around and be casual, like things can happen. And just, having some imagination of for example, if you have kids or wife, like what would you do? Like imagining a scenario. If you have a friend, if you're alone, how can you escape? How can you help? How can you do that? I think that's going to be a natural thing that will become more and more practiced, as long as these things keep on happening in places where they should not happen, and police are not doing their work. So, and from a Swedish perspective, we don't have guns. So perhaps if some American watches this and just says, go and buy a machine gun and have it in your backpack, sorry, we don't have that. So, every country is different. But I think that sort of instinctive kind of judgment will be a good thing to have. in order to see things going on. And it's a good thing to have anyways, to be in sync with your intuition. So yeah, it's weird because like I had a good day today, people had a tragic days, and I think about that. I think about Spain because I've grown up with stories of people's lives ruined. Coming from a war zone, from an area where the biggest genocide happened since World War II, and so there's a kind of reference point, and it's sad, and I think also the sort of locations are becoming more random, like Åbo in Finland. Finland, they don't even have a high migrant amount coming in. So yeah, that's it. I mean, it's a sad thing because we can look at it this way. We have been living in that kind of alertness for a long time, and after a while we created a sort of society in which we could relax, and become, just let loose all the energy. No reservoir for the sort of protection. Be creative, be fun, enjoy yourself. Now I think it has decreased, and it's sort of reptile instinct. I think it's gone up in value. Yeah, and it's sad. It's really sad, and when you think about that, this hasn't even sort of reached its peak. That the police, the secret services, they know about these groups, and why don't they just bust their doors and get them? For us ordinary people, it increases the awareness of things that might happen, and we are not used to it here in Europe in the same way. And also, as I said, everything is inevitable. For example, when we had a kind of a safe society, we engaged in war. We destroyed societies. That creates chaos, and it sends ripples. What we have here is not the same chaotic kind of terror landscape that's going on in the Middle East, or where the areas of war are, but there are ripples, so it's just inevitable. And sadly, I think where we failed as the civilized world, is that we sent ripples of destruction initially. We didn't send ripples of development. So that, and people fleeing here, doing everything they can to get here, and even if that is stopped, you still have the radicalized groups, which in themselves will create ripples and create the opposite radicalized groups. I haven't been following much what's going on in Boston in the US, between the extreme right, extreme left, but you see, it's just the principle. You have something here, and it does something. It creates ripples. It gets a response, and that's the time we are living in right now. And as a just ordinary person, I think it's good to become more alert, more animalistic, sort of, not in a violent way. Animals are not violent. A wolf is not violent. It's just, it has a clear perception of what's going on. That's important, to have a clear perception, not just intellectually, via the computer. You see, like, oh, now I know who's behind this, the facts here, the numbers there. That's in your head. I mean, outside, see, within the body, within the mind, and within the people you have responsibility for. and so on. Okay, that was some thoughts. Bit of eclectic once again, somehow coherent. But I just wanted to share that I haven't had time to sort of ventilate it through my system. It's been a very busy time, and after walking today, I just felt like organizing the thoughts for myself and recording this. So anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great Sunday. Ciao. Take care.